Well, hello and welcome back. We are embarking on something a little different. This time we're going to spend a little bit of time. We're building a script that is in Python. We're going to utilize Amazon's AWS or S3 and all of those related buckets. And what we're going to do is it's really going to be something rather simple utility where we can take a file that is a backup. Eventually we're going to actually build it. So it's going to go, you point it to a folder, it's going to grab all that stuff. It's going to you compress it all together, throw it into effectively a tar file, if you know anything about that, and then we'll shove it out to S3. And then we'll also have the ability to pull those things back down. A lot of this is related to using Amazon CLI, their command line interface, and a thing called Boto, B-O-T-O 3, which is a library for Python. And we'll go ahead and get started and just go as far as we can with each of these episodes. This one really going to get set up. So the first thing you need to do with this, the Boto, is you're going to have to pip3 install it. And it's just BOTO 3. And it will take a second to do it. And by a second, I mean a couple of them. And then we're ready to go. So what I've got here is, I think it's called this. Yep. What I've got here is a really simple script. And I grabbed this from some examples that are out there. If you go out and we'll get I'll have a list out there, link out in the notes for this. Let's do this. And there's a lot of great examples. The first one we're going to do is we're just going to go out to our buckets. If you don't know much about S3, it is essentially it's a file storage system. I forget what the three S's are. It's simple something storage. And what it does is it allows us to put files out there in folders, and then we can always retrieve them back via essentially a URL. And there's some other things we can do around it, permissions and such. So what we're going to do first, we're just going to do a super simple client that allows us to connect to our account and then pull a directory of the folders that we have. Oops, I'll go to this one because it's easier to read. And they're called buckets. Our folders are called buckets. And so all we're going to do is we're going to connect to S3, and this can go to other AWS services as well. So we're keeping it. Oh, it's simple storage service. That's what it was. So we're going to keep it, sort of sticking to that for now. We may branch out in future items or future episodes. So right now it's just going to come in. We just print a little line, and then we're just going to walk through each bucket and print the bucket name. So it's fairly straightforward. And all we need here is the Boto 3, because you're going to see we're using it to connect, and then we're just going to get all the buckets, and then we're just printing it out. So I've got a few other things floating in there, imports that we'll use later, but not right now. Let me get out of this. So now if I take this little script that I wrote, we're going to find that, oops, it's not Python, it's Python 3. So if I try to run it, this is probably what's going to happen. So we've installed Boto 3, and basically what's going to end up is you're going to get some variation of access denied. And the reason that is because we need to have the command line interface set up in order to do this. And so in order to use the Python library, we need to have the command line interface set up. Now, if you come to this link, which I will throw that in there as well. This is CLI downloads. And it's really simple. It's just amazon.com, aws.amazon.com/CLI. And then it will do you've got a little getting started over here. You can basically grab it for Windows, for Mac, Linux, Amazon Linux. So we're going to do, for this one, we're going to do the Linux installer. And so I can actually do, let's see if this is updating. I don't have to worry about this. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to pull it down. It used to be that there was a package for it, apparently. So let's go set this up in our server. That's a good enough place for it. Okay, got it. And then I just want to unzip it. So I need to get, to do this, I need to get unzip. So I'm going to do unzip on Debian. I can go out there. Basically, if you just go Google unzip Debian 11 or whatever your Linux operating system is, you can do that. You may already have unzip available. In this case, I did not. So now I pulled that out, and I'm assuming I got it all. It should be all there. Interesting enough. Okay. And then I should be able to, once I unzip it, do a AWS install. Well, for some reason it did not unzip right. Let's see. Oh, I did not unzip it. That's why. Unzip. There we go. I installed it. I forgot to unzip it. Now we'll go in, and then we're just going to run this install. So now I'm going to have the Amazon command line interface will be installed. There we go. So now I should be able to do, I believe it's AWS CLI. Well, let's go back and look. So it's just, I need to do a configure, which is AWS configure. And then what it's going to do is going to ask me for a key and a password. And so what I need for that is I need to go over, and we'll just do this. If I want to do AWS access key, let's call it S3, we'll do that, and it'll take us security credentials, and this will walk you through setting those up. So you'll basically have to go get yours. You'll need to log into your account so that you can go with your access keys, and you'll be able to see where they're at and where you're able to set those up. I'm not going to go into that because your account may look a little bit different, and I don't want to expose my keys. So I'm going to jump back in a second. I'm going to go ahead and enter my two. If you need something, if you need to reach out to me, definitely email, and we can always walk you through it. But I'm going to go ahead and enter these keys, and I'll be right back. It's going to ask you a couple of things. It's going to ask you a default region and some things like that. You don't need those. What that's going to do is that's going to set everything up for you so that once you've got your BOTO3 installed plus your command line, your CLI configured, then what you should get, and this is where you'll be able to test it, is if you run that back up, you should be able to see that, hey, that it connected, and it's going to give you some buckets. Now, in this case, I've got 4 buckets in there, and so it's just going to list through each of those. And so I've got a very simple sort of hello world program going on here.